Alrighty.
All right, I'll call the meeting to order. Karen, would you please do the roll call?
Chris,
Here.
Heather,
Here.
Sally,
Present.
Jim,
Here.
John,
Here.
Marita, and Phil.
Okay, do we have any amendments to the agenda for today's meeting? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve? So approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Do we have any amendments to the minutes from the January meeting? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve? So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Do we have any public comments that are unrelated to agenda items for today's meeting? Hearing none, we'll move on. We have nothing on the consent calendar for this meeting. We have one public hearing item. We have an application for a variance. And I've got to look at what's the address on that. 208 Midcock Highway. Do we have any public testimony?
I think I need to make a declaration.
Okay,
My sister called to say happy Valentine's Day to me today. And I said, oh, thank you. And I said, I got to get in the shower because I have a meeting today. And she goes, oh, that's right. It's a commissioners planning commissioners meeting. And she said, she is the adjacent property to the one we're going to discuss. And she said, she said she had no objections. She goes, but I had a question and I stopped her before she could go any further. But I feel like I was not supposed to discuss in any way, means or form, what would be on the agenda today. I stopped her before I heard her question. She was starting to talk about the yard or something. And I said, oh, I'm not even sure if I can participate now. So I am bringing that forward.
thank you. Liz?
I was just going to say it's up to the other commissioners whether they feel like she should recuse herself, and you would need to make a motion and second it and then vote on it with Heather not voting at all. But if there's no motion made, then no action's taken, and then you're in agreement that it's not an issue. So that's up to you to decide.
I have no objection.
Neither.
Me neither.
Thanks for being honest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're stuck voting, Heather, so you know you have to.
So do we have any public testimony?
Karen, can you unmute them and see if
That be the people in the bubble. Yep. Hold on.
All right, so we can discuss. Yeah,
I just invited them to unmute and they unmuted.
okay. Do we have any public testimony concerning this?
No,
No, so. Do we have a motion so we can discuss?
I make a motion to open this up for
Oh, that's the
discussion.
motion in the affirmative, so say a motion to approve,
Motion to approve.
and then we need a second.
Second.
All right, discussion.
I was wondering what the dimensions are on the house and on the garage, because I would probably help me better understand the diagram. How it sits on the plat there as proposed.
And I also wondered how they were going to be entering the smaller of the two buildings. I assume that's a garage. Are they entering on the roadside or coming in and driving it at an angle?
driving in at an angle parallel to the road.
Parallel to the road.
I didn't catch that.
She said driving parallel to the road.
Parallel to the road, yeah.
We didn't
So they
want,
would be coming
to
onto
have
one of the
people-
ends then.
Okay.
right, we didn't want to have people parking on the road. So we put the garage there so drive into the property parallel to the road.
Thank you, Jerry.
Mhm.
Any further questions, comments?
Yours
Um,
answered the dimensions of the house?
I was curious what the dimensions are of the house and the garage.
Turn that up.
Could you
turn your volume up, guys?
I'll try. I thought I had it up as high as it would go. The cell service here in Yuma is terrible. And it's up as high as it will go. Can
It
you hear me?
sounds better when you're leaning closer to the microphone. I think you might be back too far from it.
How's that?
Better.
Is that better? Okay. Let me go see if I can find something. It might still be in Petersburg. Canute had surgery on his knee yesterday, so I'm doing the running around.
You got the paper, we brought the prints with us?
Well, I thought, let me look in here to see if I can have prints. Maybe not. We might have left them on the book.
Should be, but it's not. I don't see any dimensions.
Yeah.
As I remember, the garage is 24 by 36, and I don't have the dimensions on the house itself, in addition to that.
24 by 60.
No, 30.
I mean, the house.
The house, she's chasing for the numbers.
Let's see what I don't know. Here. Okay, got it. How many square feet is in the house? Okay.
The house portion is 62 along the water by 27. And the garage is 20, I'll call it 24 by 30.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I just want to say that the directions do say that they're supposed to submit a map that shows distance between the property and the vehicle or the building on each side. So we wouldn't have to be asking these questions. And I'm not really picking on this time, but going forward, we should kind of set a standard.
Yeah, it's a lot of times we get ones in that do not have the dimensions on them, and then we end up having to ask a lot of questions.
It's obviously, they're using a very small percentage of the total lot, which is really good. And I appreciate the fact that it's uniform with the existing area, so.
And it's not a very deep lot. I do think we need to address, there were some comments that in the email from Carl that's in there. Particularly that to make sure that the eave line of the garage not be allowed to encroach within the overhead power line easement. And then
That's correct.
also, as long as the construction does not cover the stop valve boxes for the water. So.
Right.
So what we need to do is if we approve it, we want to put that in the stipulation, so it's in writing. That's what he's saying.
What? Sorry. What was that, Jim?
So we need to make sure that's stipulated. If
We need to make
approve
sure
it.
that's stipulated, yes.
Right.
So. Yeah.
Yeah. it would be nice to see the distance from what's proposed to each property line. And then also too, like you were saying, the pitch of the road, of the roof, where that might, especially the garage.
If the slope is going toward the sidewalk area, we need to make sure there's stipulation of snow stops.
Yeah, I believe the eaves are approximately 3 feet.
These are 3
These
feet.
are
3
3
feet.
feet.
The eve from the
This
wall.
building, so that's into the
Yeah.
road.
Well, like it's in the, that's, we want to stipulate they can't go into the easement. Because that's gonna be a problem for Carl and for Power and Light, so.
And I thought Carl looked at it and said he didn't see a problem. Yeah.
It would be nice to see where things are gonna sit, how far from the lot lines still.
Well, it's
Lot lines are
basically,
here.
it's basically centered on the lot line. I don't have the dimensions, but
They're both here on
On the side yards, but
yeah, side
it's
yards
it's
are,
right up against the easement on the front.
Yeah, I'm
No.
not clear on that one either. It looks like it's right against it.
So,
I appreciate
side
that
yard?
they did check with the PL that they have no issues with his plans. Setting his house and garage, from a utility
yeah,
perspective.
they have no issues, but as long as we make sure that no
Right.
part of the garage is in the easement.
Right,
And
right.
that the water stop valves are not covered. by the
right. And
structure.
so that would have to be in
That
the
has to be-
stipulation.
Yeah, we have to put that as an amended, a motion, to the motion we currently have on the table.
Well, I'm really bad at doing motions, so if you can get somebody experienced, I might second it.
Jim's our motion guy.
So I'm gonna try it.
Yeah,
I motion that we approve the submitted with these conditions, that as long as the property construction doesn't cover the curb stop values, it does not interfere with existing power lines, and the eve is within the 4 feet of the front property line.
And I second it.
about snow stops. If the slope is going to be going toward the road,
Okay, and if the slope of the roof is going towards the road, snow stops need to be installed.
Okay.
Second still.
Just for clarification.
yeah. Yes, Liz.
ask me to read that
But- Excellent. Okay. I'm super excited for you guys. It's like you nailed it there. Okay. Yay. The idea is you want the eaves to be outside of the power line easement,
Correct.
right? Okay. So no part of the structure extends into the power line easement. Got it. Okay.
For Carl.
There was the eaves, the power lines, the curb stops.
Yeah, it was just
No
snow
stops?
stops. Yeah, so snow stops, no part of the structure within the power line easement and not covering the curb stops. Okay,
And I will double check with Carl, but I
Okay.
believe that power pole has been moved. See how that easement kind of comes in as a rectangle?
yeah, they said that in
Yeah.
his letter, he said the guy wire's been removed.
Moved. So then he's okay on that
Yeah,
part. We're just talking about along the highway
Right.
stretch, right? Okay.
yeah, because originally there was a guy wire coming down to support that pole, but it's not necessary according to the letter.
There was one down here
Having a
too.
wire over your house is not a good thing.
yeah, the guy wire was eliminated at some point. It's the wire itself is tied to the
Pole.
pole.
Mhm.
But not supported or not anchored in any way.
Three
We've
seconds.
got a second on
Oh,
it, so
okay.
it's,
live.
do we have do you want, you want to do a roll call on the amendment and then do a roll call on the, original motion.
Jim's motion is an amendment to the original motion.
So we just need to do it once or, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so, Heather,
Yes.
Telly,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Marita. And Chris.
Yes. Okay.
Looking forward to seeing that new house.
Us
That was
too.
on the amendment,
That was on the
That
amendment,
was an
right?
amendment. Okay,
on the final,
yes,
as amended.
as amended.
Oh, man.
Okay,
Getting excited for it.
Heather. Chris,
yes.
Sally,
Yes.
Marita. Yes. John.
Yes.
And Jim.
Yes.
Moving on to non-agenda items. Do we have any commissioner comments?
Shall we go? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So hopefully-
Congratulations.
Happy Valentine's.
Yes.
I will be on the next agenda, so unless there's, that means I have something that will be brought up in the next agenda. So unless there's something
Hole in the
else,
ground?
what?
Something to do with the big hole in the ground?
No.
Oh.
no, I don't have to, that doesn't have to come before you guys. And that's still, no, my personal property. Yeah, so.
So you're gonna be setting out there?
Yep.
Okay,
What day is that
Um,
meeting?
that is
14th,
Tuesday,
we'll be
March
here.
14th. Liz, any staff comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on what Jim was saying about the applications that you're receiving and not having measurements and things. So, you've heard me say this before, this is like what we get after we've asked several times for
Yeah.
more information. But certainly, if you want to draw a line in the sand where if the application doesn't have the measurements as required, we're not going to put it on the agenda. You can certainly do that, but it will postpone. I know it's going to happen where someone's going to feel like they put their application in and then it's not going to be on the agenda. And it's like, well, you never gave us one with any measurements on it. And then they're going to be less than happy with us. And I just want to make sure that as long as we're all on the same page, that that's what we want to do. I don't mind doing it, but I also want to make sure that that we're all standing together on how we're going to approach it. So it's up to you guys on how you want to
When you
move forward.
see my submission, I followed the directions because it asked for all this. And so I did it all.
Mhm.
I went out there with my little tape measure and measured
It's true.
it all. And so try to be as,
Well, it'd be nice to just be consistent
Yeah.
that that's what is
we
expected
shouldn't
and
actually
everything
have
will
to
go
ask
smoother.
how
And
big
she,
is it?
Yeah.
yeah, she was happy to go hunt for paper and stuff.
It was a simple ask. It was help me make my decisions. right?
Because the square
Yeah.
footage can be no more than 35% of the total square footage. And so it's nice to know if something's getting kind of big,
Yeah.
what it is.
Right.
Not that this one was. but-
I
I think the council gone in on a map, so.
I like
Sharpie.
seeing dimensions. I like seeing things drawn to scale.
Yep.
If I could see stuff drawn to scale, it would make me feel much more comfortable in any decision I make.
I think it also will make the meetings go a lot more smoothly and,
Yes.
and faster, because we'll have the information. We won't have to ask a lot of questions.
It's required anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
But we're
Well, it's
amateurs
actually-
and it helps
it's
to
in
make it
there.
more
Yeah.
clear for us.
Online,
Yeah.
it says, the directions are very clear, but you, what is expected.
So it's an
Make 'em bold,
incomplete
Liz.
application if they have not supplied the information. that
And we-
is-
Yeah, I would just
seen
hold it
Or
and
where,
not schedule it.
where a depiction of something might say the right dimensions on it, but it's not to scale. And that's really not, that's kind of disingenuous. It should show that's where it sits on the property to scale.
Right, I will say that is very hard for people.
Yeah.
To do that, quite honestly, but
I love grid paper.
that's where you can take, like a picture from the maps thing and you can, you can see a little bit better. I actually get out there with a tape measure, measured every angle and stuff, except for the back because it's so long on my drawing. You'll see it next time. I just said this is how far it goes out because I wasn't gonna put 3 pieces of paper. Because it was the scale.
Remember when we had that problem with Pat Weaver's one of her property owners up in her area, and they had the huge house and then the huge warehouse and a pretty small lot. It would have been nice to know what the square footage was, and we could have kind of calculated, and maybe that huge warehouse wouldn't have been so huge. Yeah, and then, you know.
Okay,
I
so
agree.
again, if I will hold them until we get to scale
So
measurements to each property line.
we're in agreement on that?
I agree.
I think
Okay.
so. Okay,
No, that's
thank
fine.
you, Liz.
Sure. No,
Happy
I don't-
Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll be saying that. I'll be like, well, the planning commission wants this, so.
Yeah.
That's how we're gonna do it.
All right, our next meeting will be Tuesday, March 14th at noon. Anybody have ideas? Jim's not gonna be available because he's on the agenda.
Can't tell you yet. I have to look at my.
Yeah,
calendar.
okay. Okay.
I'll be here.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna be in town or not, but if I'm not in town, I will be on Zoom.
Okay,
So.
perfect.
So
Perfect, perfect.
it kind of depends on if the machine shop got done with the engine for my son's truck, 'cause that's spring break. And the truck he's taking to college is sitting in Tacoma and he's got to put the engine back in it. So,
Well, good luck.
Are you gonna be here?
Got it.
Heather? Are you gonna be here?
Choice of orange or blue.
And
all right,
here.
Feels good in the hand.
we have a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Man, that was a long meeting.